Hello everybody, welcome back to the show. At the end of the last episode, I had finally found some sulfur ore. And this is what the ore vein looks like. I have been mining it out. You can see there is sulfur ore and sphalerite ore, which is zinc primarily, and also some pyrite ore, which is iron. So finding the sulfur ore is great because it will allow me to make my first electrical machinery. And so let me head back to the main base and we can get started on that. All right, before I get started on the meat of today's episode, I do want to make a few administrative comments. The first is that I have updated GregTech to what I think is the latest version as of the time of this recording. And the brittle charcoal bug, I call it, isn't a bug, maybe just an oversight, is fixed. I can now mine the charcoal in adventure mode with an axe. And so that is, of course, very nice. The second thing I want to make a comment about is that I had a viewer who made a comment that I could make an iron furnace. I was talking about how I kind of disliked making wrought iron because of the time that it took to cook the iron in the furnaces. And this person had said that I shouldn't make the iron furnace from industrial craft. And I believe he said that the iron furnace uses, it's 25% faster and uses 25% less fuel. So not a bad idea. I sometimes get really focused on GregTech and forget that there is also industrial craft stuff that is useful. But this obviously would be one of those things. Now, it would be a little bit on the expensive side to make early on in the game. Each one of these iron plates is 2 iron ingots, so you're talking about a total of 10 iron ingots as well as a regular furnace. But again, the trade-off, if you have lots of iron, probably a good thing to make, allowing you to cook things faster and with less fuel. Now, one last thing I want to say, which kind of has to do with what I want to do in this episode, because what I want to do in this episode is I want to make the basic steam turbine, which, let's do it this way. Basic steam turbine is here, and one of the big components I need for the steam turbine is this electronic circuit. And when I originally looked at the electronic circuit, I could have sworn that the only way I can make it is with these copper cables. But my friend Ungod pointed out that it can also be made with these red alloy cables. And these red alloy cables are insulated with paper, which to me doesn't really make a lot of sense, but you know, we'll go with it. And this meant that I didn't need the sulfur that I spent all that time looking for. So had I not found the sulfur, this would probably be the route that I would go, but I did get lucky, I did find the sulfur, and so that is a good thing. So, getting on with the episode, again, like I said, I want to make this basic steam turbine, and one of the first things I'm going to need is some rubber. And that is because, as I said, in this electronic circuit, I need to make these insulated copper cables, and the way that they are made is with rubber, as you can see here in an alloy smelter, some wire, and this rubber bar, and then that sort of wraps it into the copper cable. So making the rubber bar is what I want to work on first, and it's not terribly easy concept. So the first thing I have to do is take some of this sticky resin, and I believe I showed in a previous episode, you get the sticky resin from the rubber trees, and in an extractor, and I believe I did show this, the sticky resin will become raw rubber dust, and I've already done that there. Is this not getting power for some, or steam? Power. I'm already wanting to have power. Oh, this should be working. Enabled. It's not going. Well, I'll have to look at that later. But yes, so this gives the sticky resin in here will give this raw rubber dust. I can also get it from just regular rubber wood. Also rubber tree leaves, which I don't remember that from previous versions. That might be something new. and sticky resin, and also slime balls. That's very interesting to me. Another way to get this raw rubber dust, and from the saplings themselves. Now, the next thing that has to be done is to take the sulfur. All right, so we'll take 1 sulfur ore, and what we want to do here is put it through a macerator. So I think I can use this macerator up here. And when the macerator is done processing, I will end up with this crushed sulfur ore. Now, putting the crushed sulfur ore will automatically turn it into, or taking the crushed sulfur ore and putting it into a steam forge hammer will turn it into this impure pile of sulfur dust. Now, if you use NEI, you can see that putting this in a centrifuge will get you the regular sulfur dust, and there's no other options in here. But it turns out that there is another option, and that is to wash the impure sulfur dust. Now, in order to do that, I believe I need to make something called the Cauldron, which is a basic Minecraft thing, but the recipe has been changed by GregTech to require 7 iron plates. So let me make this real quick. Okay, and 1 cauldron later. Now, we'll put the cauldron over here by our water, because I will need to use water in the cauldron. Also, I did figure out why my steam extractor wasn't working, and it's because I forgot to make sure that the exhaust was aimed in an empty space. So I had it, I think, out the back when I put it down. So as I said before, always make sure with these steam machines that you have an exhaust pointing empty space, or the machine will stop working properly. Okay, so with the cauldron, we just put some water in it, like that. And then you can drop your impure dusts into it, and it will wash them and turn them into regular dusts. I don't find this to be the easiest process in the world, because you have to do something like that. But there, as you can see, I have sulfur dust. And I think each bucket of water allows you to do 3 washes, if you will. But each stack that you drop in there will use 1 of those washes. So I only had 2 sulfur dust, so that's all I had to put in there. But you could throw an entire stack of sulfur dust, or any other type of impure dusts that you might find. So sometimes when you're mining stuff, you come across, so for example, there's 12 impure pile of netherrack dust, and so I believe if I drop that in there, I will just get regular netherrack dust. So I'll drop it in like that and go find it, because it's going to throw it all over the place for some reason. And there you can see it's netherrack dust. So that's how you use the cauldron to wash your ores. Don't have to do that too often, but it is nice to be able to know how to do that. And then, as I said, with this sulfur dust and the raw rubber dust, I can use that to make rubber in the alloy smelter. And so it seems that 3 raw rubber dust and 1 sulfur dust will cook up into 2, or I guess it's just 1 rubber bar. So I am going to need a lot of these, because if we go back to that basic steam turbine recipe, this electronic circuit, I need 6 of these for these copper cables. So not cheap and easy to do, but it's definitely doable now that I have the ability to do so. I guess that didn't really make a lot of sense, but you guys know what I mean. Now, the next thing I'm going to want to be able to do is, again, with these electronic circuits, which are made with these cables, is I need to make this wire to begin with. And making wire requires the use of wire cutters. So if we look up the recipe for wire cutters, you can see here that depending on what material we want to make it out of, requires 3 plates, 2 rods, and a screw. Now, at this point in time, the way that we make all this stuff, is a little bit complicated, but it's definitely doable. However, I don't have enough iron or wrought iron to make it, So I'm going to spend some time and make up some wrought iron, and then I will come back and make some wire cutters. Okay, so the first thing we want to be able to make are rods. And to do that, we use a file on an ingot, and that will turn it into one wrought iron rod. And I'm actually going to make 3 of these, like so, and that gives me a wrought iron rod. And if I use a saw on one of the wrought iron rods, I will receive 2 wrought iron bolts. That's good. And I think using the file again on the 2 bolts will give me the wrought iron screw. So that's how you get rods, bolts, and screws. And in this case, we're not using the bolts, we're using the screws. But then if we look at the recipe here for the wire cutters, you can see it's 3 plates, like so. And how much do you want to bet I don't have a screwdriver on me? I don't think that I do, because I think this item here is a screwdriver, which I don't have. And I don't think I've ever had to make one yet, which is interesting. Okay, so apparently you want to make a screwdriver before you make the wire cutters. And so you can see here, to make a screwdriver requires a stick, 2 rods, and the file. And so we can, let's see, take the file back out again, make 2 more rods like that. And so now we should be able to use 1 stick and 2 rods and a file and a hammer. Now we get a screwdriver. Okay, so that's good. And then I think we will replace all of this stuff like so. Put in the plates, put in the rods, put in the screw, swap some things around until we get it right. And now we have wire cutters. Oh man, all that effort just to get a pair of wire cutters. But now we have wire cutters. So with the wire cutters, we can now make wires. But in order to make a wire, you have to make it out of a plate, as I have here, for example. So I don't have any copper, but if you recall that the way we make a plate is 2 copper ingots in the forge hammer will make 1 plate. And then if we use a plate with the wire cutters, something like that, we'll get 1 copper wire. So if you do the math on that, it's 2 copper ingots to get 1 copper wire. That is just crazy, ridiculously expensive. It really is. And of course I need 6 of these copper wires in order to make that electronic circuit. That's just insane, right? So let's go back and look at this basic steam turbine. And I don't want to go necessarily through every single recipe and every single thing of how things are made, but I do want to kind of show the basics of some of this stuff so you can see what it does take. Now the other 2 ingredients we need here are a steel plate. Again, we know how to do that. That's going to be 2 steel ingots in the forged steam hammer, which, you know, we're making our steel over here in the blast furnace, and it's going pretty slowly, but it's coming along. And the next thing we need are these NAND chips. NAND chips, no wait, they're not called NAND chips, they're called NAND, oh, they are called NAND chips. And so for this, you can see we need 2 red alloy wires, 1 tin wire, and a refined iron casing. Now, the tin wire is again going to be made out of tin plate, which means 2 tin ingots. And this red alloy wire is going to come from a red alloy plate, which of course comes from 2 red alloy ingots. And the red alloy ingots are made from using an alloy smelter with, there it is, redstone and copper dust. So even more copper. So 4 redstone dust, 1 copper dust, and that will give me a red alloy ingot. So I need to make some of those. Now, the other part of this is this refined iron item casing. And one way to make those is just to hammer a steel plate and get a refined iron item casing. So that's pretty simple. The other way to do it is in the alloy smelter with this casing, in which case 2 steel ingots will give me 3 iron item casings. So if I hammer 1 steel ingot, I get 1 iron casing. But if I use the alloy smelter with 2, I get 3. So that's giving me 50% more, items. The problem with that is we'd have to make this mold. Now this mold is made from 4 steel plates, which again is 8 steel ingots. So you would have to put in a pretty good amount of materials into making the mold, but I think it's worth it because you end up having to make a lot of those NAND chips, and in the long run I think that it's better off to do it this way. So this is what I'm going to do. So the first thing I'll have to do is get some of these. I need 8 of these that I need to hammer into plates, and I'm just going to manually do this with my hammer because it'll be quicker than doing it through the forged steam hammer. And then putting 4 of these together like this with a file gives me this empty shaped plate. And now what happens is that these empty shaped plates can be used to make all kinds of different molds. As you can see, there's just different kinds, and it's just a matter of where you put the hammer in the recipe. Again, the one that we want is the casings, so this is the recipe for that. So we just do this and this, and that'll give us casing mold like so. So now if I use the alloy smelter, I can use this and 2 steel ingots like this, and I will end up with, as I said, 3 of these refined iron item casings. So that is, again, takes an investment of steel to make it. If you're low on steel, it may not be the best thing to do, but it's probably going to be better off in the long run because, again, you'll need to make a lot of these casings, and you'll be doing a little bit better by doing it this way. Okay, so again, what I need to do is need to make a lot of these wires and some more rubber, as well as these wires and stuff, which I've already talked about. So I'm going to do that, and I'll come back when that is done. Okay, so I spent some extra time making things, but I think that I am at least semi-close to being done. I actually think I might have everything I need, although I'm not going to say that for certain because I'll say that and probably end up being wrong. But let's go over here, and I believe that a couple of refined iron casings and some red alloy wire and some tin wire, and that will get me the NAND chip. Great. I need 2 of those. Put those together with a steel plate and some of this copper cable again, and that will give me my first electronic circuit. Welcome to the digital age. Dun dun dun. All right, so now to continue on with making this basic steam turbine, you see I have that there. I'm going to need an LV machine hull. So the machine hull requires a bunch of steel plates and I believe tin. We'll come back to that in just a minute. First thing I need to do is do this with some steel plates with a hammer in the middle, and that should give me the steel hull. And I'm pretty sure that's... Oh no, I want the LV machine casing. I need a wrench for that. I need the wrench. So wrong tool. Let me grab the wrench. My wrench is about to die. So wrench in the middle with all these steel plates, and that will give me the LV machine casing. And I hear an Enderman. Enderman? Hello, Enderman. These guys do have the ability to kill me. Alright, got him. Great. Okay, so the next thing that I need for this LV machine hull is some more steel plates. Here at the top, or is this iron plates? I think steel. I can use steel and tin cables. Now I will tell you that I find this a little bit annoying. These tin cables are made with black carpet and string. This is how you make tin cables. The reason I find that annoying is because the copper cables are made with rubber, and then those red alloy cables, if you remember from earlier, those are made with just paper. So I kind of dislike the fact that there are 3 different recipes essentially for making cables out of wires. If anything, they should at least be equivalent, or that I can use black carpet and string on tin, but I could also use rubber. I don't understand why I would not be able to use rubber. It seems a little bit silly to me, but that's the way it is. So we're going to take 2 of these tin wires, and I've already got some string and some black carpet here, as you can see. And so again, we'll put tin wire, black carpet, and string together, and that will create the tin cables. So I've got 2 of those, and then LV machine casing, steel plates along the top, and I end up with nothing. What did I do wrong? LV machine casing says I can use steel plates and tin cables to make the LV machine hull. Okay, I see the problem, which is that I need a steel plate here, but these 2 on the side are actually wrought iron plates. I thought that they would all be the same, and I was wrong. So I have not enough wrought iron. I shall return. Okay, so while I make the wrought iron to finish that, we can work on some of these other things, and we'll start with these electric motors. There's 2 electric motors here. This is the recipe for them. You can make them with steel or iron rods. And you'll need a magnetic iron rod, 2 regular iron rods, some copper wire, and some tin cables. So I thought I heard a zombie. Oh, I did hear a zombie. There he is. Hello. Hello. Come on in. Go away. Rainy night. Okay, so let me put away this zombie flesh so it doesn't get in my way. All right, so we want to make that. So in order to make a magnetic iron rod, we're going to use redstone with it. And let's see. And the way you do that is an iron rod with, I believe it's 4 redstone will make a magnetic iron rod. All right, so that's how we get magnetic iron. Once again, I want to wrap up some of this tin and so I can get the tin cables like so. I hear yet another zombie. Zombie, ow! Well, that guy was a little more aggressive, wasn't he? Okay, so now we can put this together. Magnetic iron, regular iron like this. Oh, I might have made too much tin cable. That's okay, I can use it. And copper wires here like so. And that will give me the LV electric motors. And I've got 2 of those. Once more, getting some good achievements out of the way. The next thing is these tin rotors. And they're made like this: 4 tin plates, a screw, and a ring. Now, I talked earlier about how to make the screws, so I'm not going to go over that again. Boy, none of these guys like the rain. But I will talk about these rings. And the way that we make the ring... Oh, there's another guy over here. Boy, I'm just getting inundated. Oh, there's zombies all over the place. I see a zombie child there. Baby zombie. Wow, man, what a day. Okay, so... we want a file like so. Okay, so we're going to file the ingots to make rods. And then once we have the rods, we can hammer them into the ring shape. So that's how you make rings out of the various metals. Okay, so I've got plates and I've got screws. And the other thing I need hammer, file, and screwdriver. So we'll get out the screwdriver. Okay, so hammer and file and screwdriver and tin plates all around, tin screws and tin rings, and that will give me tin rotors. Very good. And yet more visitors. Go away. Sheesh. It's like they don't like the rain or something. Uh-oh. Alright, so is my wrought iron done? No, not yet. Okay, so I'm still waiting on the wrought iron. I think that's the last thing I need. I've got this, I've got this. and bronze fluid pipes. I should have... Ooh, I've got small bronze fluid pipes, so I'm going to need to make bronze fluid pipes. Okay, so I need 6 bronze plates, and I have just enough bronze to do that with. And I'll throw that into the forge hammer, and I will be back when all of my wrought iron is done cooking up. Okay, so I've got 2 wrought iron plates and get a steel plate. So we'll do this again. Machine casing, steel plate, wrought iron plates, and I didn't get the tin cable. One more time, machine casing, steel plate, wrought iron plates, 2 tin cables, and voila, 1 LV machine hull. And I believe we need one last piece of tin. So I gotta hammer this up. Oh, don't do that. Could have broke something important there. Wire cutters and 1 carpet, 1 string. And so we now have, okay, so tin plate, and I could put the tin plate, wire cut that into a tin wire, wrap that up with some string and black carpet to make a cable, just like so. And now, LV machine hull there, tin rotors there, electric motors there, 1 tin cable there, bronze fluid pipes there, electronic circuit there, basic steam turbine. Dun da da da. And yet another achievement. So many achievements on the way to electrical power, and now we have the basic steam turbine. And again, as I said, my steam boilers, my small coal boilers are already making steam, and it should literally be as simple as hooking this thing up. I don't know where I want to hook it up, but I think for now I'm going to put it here. Maybe? Yep, there we go. So you can see this shows how much steam is in there. There's that much steam. And it will boil that steam and turn it into power. Oh, it's got a little turning graphic there. That's nice. And so yeah, so now I can create LV power with this basic steam turbine. The problem, of course, is I have nothing to do with that power. I don't have a way to store it because I can't make batteries just yet, and I don't have any machinery that works on electricity or LV power, so I'm not able to use the power. And again, more visitors. Where are you at? Oh, I hear them dying. Are they out here somewhere? No, I don't see them. All right, go back inside. Sorry for that brief little bit there, but so you can see it stores a maximum of 24,000 steam, at which point that's all it does. I don't know if it is constantly using steam or not. It doesn't look like it because these are going back up. So there you go. I can now create LV power, but again, I don't have anything to use it with. I'll have to save that for the next episode. That is gonna do it for this episode. I finally have gotten my way into the electrical age by making power with the basic steam turbine. I'm just not using it yet, but I will work on that. So that's it. This is usually the part where I say if you have any questions or comments, leave them for me in the comment section down below. But in addition to that, I would like to ask a question, which is basically, would you guys like me to continue this series or not? I know I took a very long break from recording. There was lots of different reasons for that, but I did need to recoup myself. So I am back and willing and able to do more recordings, but I know it's been a long time since I started this series. I know a new version of Minecraft has come out. I don't know if you guys are still interested in seeing me continue along with this series, or maybe you'd like me to start something new and different. So let me know. Give me your honest opinions on that. And seriously, honest opinions. If you want me to continue, great. If you don't, if you think it's boring, if you think it's dumb, let me know. I really want to know what you guys think, and I'll make a decision based on that. But again, that's it for this episode. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you next time.